The Shepnaz Podcast begins now.
Welcome to the Shepnaz Podcast. I'm Joe. I'm your host today. And in studio with me today, we have Pastors Brett and Nick. And we're going to be talking a little bit about Jingle Jam that is coming up at both campuses, both here in Gahanna and also in Johnstown. And we wanted to maybe just talk a little bit before we get into those details about, well, our family Christmas traditions. So welcome in, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yep, thanks for having us, Joe.
Now, your traditions, maybe some of them center around food, maybe some of them center around activities.
Oh, yeah.
So, Brett, would you like to go first? You want to tell us a little bit about maybe some of your Christmas family traditions?
Yeah, sure. So, Emma and I have been married for just a little while now, so we have some new stuff that we've started since the two of us got married. But in my nuclear household with my parents and my sister growing up, we always read the Christmas story before opening presents on Christmas morning. But since Emma and I got married, just recently, or I guess it was last year, we were looking for stockings to hang up in our apartment, and we went super last minute, and so there was no stockings around. And so our Christmas tradition is we ended up finding these sacks at Marshall's that are very, very small, and they're Santa sacks, and mine has dinosaurs on it. It's very clearly for a 4-year-old boy. Nice. And she's got a really girly one too. So we have our Christmas sacks that we hang up every year. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, do you have?
Yeah, I very much relate to
traditions?
that, kind of, because me and Cheney have been married. Let's see, do the math. Okay, almost. It'll be 8 years this coming December. I think that's right.
Sure.
I'm not like you could answer that for me.
Well, yeah. Call me later if you need to edit this part.
Yeah, Cheney, once you listen to this, I think that's right. So yeah, we went through that a little bit of trying to figure out, what do we want our family traditions to be around the holidays, and in general, kind of the traditions I grew up with over the last handful of years, those have been changing. I mean, just for the different family dynamics, just things that life brings, you have to change. And but I was very much big into those traditions growing up. Things like every Saturday before Christmas, we would go to my grandma Shaner's, and then every Christmas Eve was going to my grandma Spencer's, and just getting together with family and my cousins, and all of those just staples every year very much meant a lot to me. So then entering into my adult life, okay, what do we want to establish in our house, Cheney? And one of the things that I look forward to is we put up our Christmas tree on Cheney's birthday, which is November 16th.
Nice.
So that we started that out our first year of marriage, and have continued it since. It's just kind of a fun mark to the start of the season. And
so that's coming this weekend, right?
It was last weekend.
Oh yeah, it was last weekend.
Yep.
Wow.
So your Christmas tree's already up.
Yep, our Christmas tree.
Well, I was at the church. I forget what day it was, and I saw you had Noah crawling around on the roof.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he offered to do that, but that was another one of our traditions growing up for Christmas. Is we would go all out for Christmas lights at my parents' house. We had lining the. We lived out in the country, so it was really just for our amusement. No one else
was going to see it.
Yeah, but we enjoyed doing that. We'd have a tree of a line of 4 or 5 crabapple trees lining the driveway that we would do different colors, and then our flagpole we hooked up to make it look like a Christmas tree.
That's neat.
Yeah, with green lights hanging down. And we had every year our goal was to add something more. Okay, we have these, we have this kind of set. So what else can we do? And so we would line the entire house and add different crosses and different things that we could come up with. We came up with making these PVC pipe candy canes and put them at the end of the driveway. Had ambitions of lining the entire driveway to look like a run. But it was just fun. So yeah, being in our place now, I was like, I hadn't ever done Christmas lights since being married and being out on our own. But this year I was kind of like, well, it'd be nice to do that. And so what what could we start, and just wanted to trim the outside of our house. And I was telling Noah about it jokingly. He said, "Hey, come help me with these lights." And he's like, "All right, yeah." And next thing I know, he's like, "Yeah, I'll get up on the roof." And all right.
Yeah, he was up there.
And he was up there. So
For me, like it has kind of, as you guys alluded to, you go through these different phases, whether it's, getting married, having kids, and now I'm to that point where my kids are having kids. And so there's traditions, there's some things that stay consistent, and then there's some things that like just go along with different stages of life. I can remember after Susan and I had Caleb, 3 was the magic number for us. Like, okay, we are done going to the grandparents' house. We will open up our house and they will come to us. And so we've been living in that phase for quite some time now. And I see that beginning to shift.
Yep.
Now, I think that there is chatter amongst my family, like who might want to have to host. But of course, then with that comes all the stuff that we normally do, because there's a lot of food tradition involved in our Christmas morning. But one thing that you had mentioned, Brett, that is reminiscent to what we do is, and this has been since I was a little kid, like, we read Luke 2 before we would open any presents, and that was just a Christmas morning thing. And then that has carried over into my family. We continue to do that. And, every year we can pass it around to whoever's going to read. But there's a couple other traditions that maybe you guys could relate to. I grew up in a 2-story house, and mine is a 2-story house. So it was always, the kids couldn't come down the steps until the appropriate time. So you'd wait at the top of the steps or try to inch your way down the steps until you were given the all clear to come down.
Yeah, that did not happen in our house.
It was just mass chaos immediately.
Well, we would go down there and find out where all of we'd pinpoint any gifts that might have been ours. We knew right where they were. We wouldn't open them, but know exactly where they were until one year my dad started doing a code instead of names. It was a code, so we couldn't do that. But
now, for our stockings, so we have Luke 2, and then we do the stockings, and then we pause before we get into, because it's a marathon once we start. There's a lot of people there. So after the stockings, we have breakfast. And
that's nice.
And then we get into the meat of opening the presents. Now, the breakfast, I say loosely, because it's not like we're all sitting down at a table, because there's way too much chaos going on. So there's like TV trays and people eating on their lap, or people, in between presents still eating. But we at least get our food, get settled in, and then we start the round. Now, I'm curious, do you guys just all go at it like everybody opens at the same time? Because we have a tradition, and it's starting to annoy some of my family members, of like, we go around and we just do rounds, and you open a present, and you open a present, and you open a present. And normally it takes us till lunch for sure, because everybody is
one by one.
Yes.
Yep.
So I don't know. What
that was your idea?
That was what I grew up with, so I didn't know any better. So that's pretty much where it stayed. But I don't know. How do you guys do it?
I'll let you go first, Brett.
We go one at a time. We go around, and like thinking back, I remember as a kid, like way back in elementary school, like our school would have like, what would they call it? Like basically like a Santa's workshop where kids could get like gifts for their parents and siblings. And thinking back, I wonder if it was like, I could imagine myself or my sister being the ones that like initiated that, because we're like, we want to see what mom and dad, how they react to the gifts that we gave. But yeah, we've always done it like one at a time, go around taking turns. Yeah. It's a lot of pressure opening the gift in front of all the family.
Yeah, so I have pretty strong opinions on this, I guess. Because
I'm guessing you don't lean that direction.
We did not grow up that way.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I have 3 brothers, and it was kind of like, here's your gift, open it, and you kind of just were watching, the entire room as everything happened. And as we got a little bit older, my mom tried to then change that. Saying,
hence the conflict, the friction.
Yes. Saying this year, we're going to go one by one so that everyone can see just what everyone's getting and just take our time. And we tried that, I think, maybe 1 or 2 years. And I'm like, Mom, this is brutal. Can we just so it didn't really stick. But yeah, it was all at once.
It's all like sometimes it's difficult to navigate because you have like somebody that opens something and then it's like, well, it comes with batteries, and it's like, all right, so we're gonna wait for them to get the batteries and try it out, and you're looking at Mom and Dad like, all right, are we good to keep going? Do we stop? What do we do here?
Oh, you bring up an interesting thing. Get your guys' opinion. Would you, if you opened a gift, would you then open it and look at it and take a look, whatever it might be, get it out of the packaging, or would you just set it off to the side?
It depends on how
intense,
dynamic the gift is. Yeah,
easily accessible.
Right. Like if it's something that everybody's wanting to see, then yeah. Otherwise, I think we're, like the shirt you hold up, put down, move on. But nobody's trying it on or anything.
Yeah, that was another thing we grew up not really doing. Was you'd open it and you left it in the packaging until everyone was done, because then, and I think my dad pushed for that because things would end up thrown away if they were open or lost, and immediately. So we just grew up. Okay, you wait till everything's cleaned up, then you play with a toy or open a game, whatever. But Cheney is not like that either. Every gift, as soon as she opens it from the wrapping, it's either coming out of the box, it's getting tried on, it's
so don't buy her a board game because you guys are playing around before you go to the next gift.
Just got to open it and see. And I'm like, what's going on? You're going to lose the pieces. And, kind of hearing my dad come out a little bit. So.
All right. Well, fellas, we want to talk a little bit about Jingle Jam that's coming up. Yeah. We have them both at Gahanna and Johnstown campus.
Oh, yeah.
So last year was kind of our first go at this.
Yeah.
And
that's what me and Brett were talking about. Like, at what point does something become a tradition? If Jingle Jam, the whole thought and hope is that it would become a family's part of their tradition, that they would come to this type of event. And so I guess 2 years makes it a tradition.
Yeah, you want to be careful when you start to invoke like the annual phrase. Yeah. Like it's like I don't know. If let's get a couple years into this before we decide.
We'll see how it goes, if it's going to stay or not. But this is the second year.
For those that missed it last year, kind of tell us what happened last year. What happened during Jingle Jam?
Well, I think I'll probably lead this because Brett wasn't really.
Yes, I am those that missed it last year.
Yeah. Brett's curious to hear since he's running it in Gahanna this year.
But it's kind of it's an all family event, kind of geared towards younger kids, but really an entire family can come out and spend time together, doing different things like games and music, crafts, some food involved. And then, of course, the highlight is you get to meet and greet Santa and get your picture with him. So it's kind of a fast-paced event. It's not much longer than an hour-ish, but it's a time to be together as a family, enjoy some time just during the busy season, and enjoy that time together. So
Brett, since this is your inaugural year of Jingle Jam, what things have you been planning for Gahanna campus?
Yeah, so I got to be careful what I say here, Joe. Nick and I were talking beforehand. We don't want to give away all the fun surprises.
Okay.
But
just tease them a little, though.
Yeah, sure. So as Nick was saying, there's definitely some games that are involved and some pretty fun prizes too. I can share
maybe some of the games last year that.
There you go.
Sure. That way you kind of get an idea. Like last year, one of the games was you had to throw some plastic ornaments at Christmas trees and try to get them to stick. There was two teams, and whichever team got the most ornaments to stick inside the tree and stay on got prizes and different things like that. So
I have a little bit to add to that particular because last year Tech was in the midst of a project where we were building a screen in the central complex. And actually, Jingle Jam was the very first event where we used that screen, the new screen in the Central Complex. And we had been given that deadline, like December 3rd. You got to have that ready. So, much to our dismay, because we didn't know what the games were ahead of time. So at that time, it was Pastor Joey had set up trees just below the screen on either side of it.
Like, oh, these are nice.
And then like, okay, that sounds good. And then like as the thing started, he's like,
You're
okay,
gonna
kids,
chuck these?
now come on and just hurl these ornaments towards the tree as hard as you can to see if you can get them to stick.
Right
I'm like,
by this LED
right
screen.
by this brand new screen that we just
You needed some defenders or something up there.
Actually, if you look at some of the video clips from the past, Joshua was up there and he was swatting things down.
The kids are trying to throw their ornaments.
Wham, rejected.
Dikembe Mutombo.
But it all went well. Everything survived. The kids had a great time.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So we have some games.
Yep, there's going to be some games. There's going to be some fun songs that we're going to sing together. I think I'm going to be trying to practice those with some of the kids that are here on Sundays.
Awesome.
That way, they'll be a little bit familiar. Although it's tricky because if you don't already know, Jingle Jam in Gahanna is the 7th, and in Johnstown it's the 14th. So I don't know how people are going to respond to practicing Christmas songs before it's even December, but we're going to find out. But yeah, there will be games. There's going to be some songs, like Nick said, like The Heart of It All is the Christmas story that we're really excited to share with everyone that comes. And like you said, food, like Christmas cookies, coffee, hot cocoa, stuff like that, and then some crafts too. So
every year on Thanksgiving, we're reminded that gratitude is a decision that we get to make. There are many things that are out of our control. The children won't stop getting older. The headlines keep getting crazier. The Christmas advertisements keep starting earlier and earlier every single year. The world around us is always changing, and there's a lot that we don't get to decide. But gratitude is a decision that we get to make. So let's decide to keep opening our doors. Let's decide to set the table and join hands. Let's decide that no matter what may come, our words to Jesus will always be, thank you.
Call in your Thanksgiving praise at 614-475-3964 and hear your message on Thanksgiving Day on the Shepnaz Podcast. Yeah, some people kind of get frustrated if we start talking about Christmas before Thanksgiving, which we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There's only like 3 weeks really in between the two.
It's not enough time.
If we don't talk about them ahead of time, then by the time they come up, you're like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. Yeah. So we're kind of put in this position where we kind of need to really talk about it ahead of time. Yeah. So I'm sure the kids will be just fine and dandy with practicing Christmas songs because they're all getting geeked up.
Everybody loves Christmas music.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but I don't know if everyone does.
So do you guys tune in to the Christmas station in your car? Or
I was just thinking about that the other day. I'm like, where's that 24/7 Christmas station that, it's just classics?
Isn't it 93.3?
Could be. Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it. I didn't search for it, but it's definitely been played in our household. We put up the Christmas tree, like I said, so
yeah,
we usually put on.
I was getting some music together for Jingle Jam last night, and I was in our apartment, and I put it on, connected to the Bluetooth speaker, and started making dinner, and I'm like, oh yeah,
this is nice.
It's time. I'm ready for it. It's so good. I love Christmas music.
Yeah.
Well, so we're going to have some games. We're going to have some music. As the kids are coming in, they're going to be kind of sitting with their parents at tables. This is kind of a very interactive thing, which is
family.
Something that I really love about the way we do events around here is that when we're focused on the kids, it's really not just the kids. Like, we want the parents to be involved. This is not a situation where you just drop off your kid and walk off and say, have fun, I'll be back to pick up you later. This is something for you to do as a family together.
Very much so.
I assume there's going to be some activities and such. And
so like Nick said, it's pretty fast paced as compared to some of our more recent events. Like we had the Back School Splash and the Pumpkin Smash and Bash, which kind of like centered around the idea of like stations and different activities that people would go to. But Jingle Jam's a little bit different because like we were saying, like the main focus of it is the presentation of the good news of Christ come to earth. And so it's a little bit more programmed in that like there will be some opening time where, like you were saying, Joe, kids and parents can kind of sit together, and the food will be available then. And then we kind of like gather everyone's attention towards the front. And like I said, we'll sing some songs, and some of the games or like activities you would say are kind of more like forward facing as kind of an introduction to the rest of the program that's going to take place. So not so much of the stations as there's been at other ones. And again, part of that is because it's so fast moving and so many things that we're trying to do.
Well, and I think it's really good to point that out, that like this is not kind of a Christmas open house.
Right. It's a start time.
Like, yeah, once that start time starts, it's off and running. If you show up late, you have missed something. So we want to make sure that you're included in everything. So it's okay even to show up a little bit early.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because
it's quite okay.
Yes, we would prefer that you come 15 minutes early. Don't worry about it. We're going to have some content on the screens. There'll be stuff for you to do, and that way you're there at the start time so that you don't miss anything. Right. So spread the word for us on that to make sure that everybody that's coming is even coming early so that we can get a good start and get everything squeezed in. And there are some other surprises coming, and I don't know how many more of those that you want to disclose today.
I'm not giving away anything today, Joe.
All right. Well, I'll just say there might be an opportunity to take a picture, right? I mean, yeah. So I think it's fair to say there might be somebody you'd want to take a picture with.
And if not you, then definitely your kids. Maybe.
Well, maybe both. Maybe just you alone. Who knows?
Maybe.
Or maybe just that person. All right. So all of these things sound great. I'm sure you have all the help that you need. You don't want any volunteers, so we'll just skip over that part, right?
Well, Joe.
Funny you mention it.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I mean, we are always looking for more help, and there's a sign up available for both in Gahanna and Johnstown, and we want to make that available to people because this is, like we're saying, like this is a really big event, and all the fun that we had with like the pumpkin smash and bash, the story that we're telling at Jingle Jam is one of the keystone stories of the church, and it's one that I guess like culturally a lot of people know is coming, and so even outside of the church, and so that's a big opportunity for us to invite other people who are already recognizing that even if they're not members of the church, that this is a time of celebration, but we can invite them into this intentional space where this story is going to be told. And so we really, really, really want to do this well, and part of that means having the appropriate amount of volunteers. So like we said, we've talked about all the things that are going to take place here with the games and with the food. And so we're going to need volunteers to help with food and to help with games. And just also other people to just be there and talk with people. Because
greeters are a big part of this too. Just being a presence, being a smiling face, a welcoming face to welcome people as they come in.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk about logistics of how we sign up for this, because we are asking people, it's not a requirement to sign up to be able to come to participate, but we sure would like to know how many people we're trying to plan for, just to be able to set out the right number of chairs and tables and things. And obviously we're going to plan for a little excess to that, but it is very helpful to us to at least have an idea of, hey, I'm planning on bringing 15 people with me. That would be nice to know ahead of time. Even if it's just 2, we'd like to know so that we can kind of make sure that we can make accommodations and have it be a good experience for everybody and for it to go smoothly. So let's first of all talk about if we go to shepnaz.org/jinglejam, you can see there that there's registration for both Gahanna and for Johnstown.
Right.
So Brett, you first tell us when things are happening in Gahanna, and then Nick, tell us about Johnstown.
Yep.
Yeah, so in Gahanna, it's December 7th, which is the first Saturday of the month of December, and it's taking place at 9 a.m. and then again at 10:45 a.m. And so that's a Saturday morning. Again, I know the times are the same as our regular service times on Sundays, but it's not Sunday. It's taking place the day before, December 7th. And also, just pointing this out too, since we're having 2 of them, the first one will be wrapping up about like an hour and 15 minutes or so in. So if you see people starting to move around and reset things, that's why. So we're doing it twice here in Gahanna on the 7th.
Mm-hmm. Over in Johnstown will be the following week, the following Saturday, December 14th, 10:45. We have plans that if it's well responded to with registrations, we left it open to have to add a time slot beforehand at 9 o'clock over there. But over there, what we have planned right now is just at 10:45 on that December 14th Saturday. So
now let's say that I normally go to Gahanna, but on the 7th, I'm busy. I've got something scheduled for the family. Am I allowed to go to the Johnstown one on the 14th?
Nope, sorry.
Oh, okay, well, that's too bad.
You'll just have to wait till... No, of course, yeah. If you can't make one location that date, just go to the other one. Absolutely.
And on the off chance that I go to Gahanna on the 7th and I had such a great time and I realized that maybe there was a friend I should have asked, I could go ahead and register and take that friend on the 14th
That's
to
a
Johnstown.
great idea,
That doesn't
Joe.
seem like an off chance. That seems like a good chance.
Yeah, I think so too. So
Definitely.
just remember you have double or triple the opportunities to be able to do this. And if people are wanting to, they listen to this and they go like, you know what? I think I could help with this. How would they go about helping you?
So for Gahanna, I sent out an email a few days ago now, and I'm going to probably send it out again as the event comes closer. And it's a Sign Up Genius link that the email gives you access to the link, and then you can look at the different areas that we're looking to have volunteers help with, and then just sign up through that.
Great. And you'll be able to sign up for whichever one you want to help with. Is that how that works? Or
I sent out one for Johnstown to our Johnstown group in an email, and I'll have a sign-up sheet over there on Sundays. But just reach out to me or Brett and let one of us know if you can help one place or the other.
Right.
It'd be appreciated.
If you haven't been able to find the sign-up links, that's no problem. Like Nick said, you can contact us. And even, like, I've had some people from Gahanna that want to help out at the Johnstown one because, like you said, Joe, they might be busy on the 7th. And that's totally okay, too. You can reach out to myself or Pastor Nick, and we'd love to have you. So.
And if all else fails, you've heard all of this, you're in your car and you don't know who to contact, email podcast@shepnaz.org, and we will forward that request to wherever it needs to go.
That's right.
All right. Any closing words?
Looking forward to it.
Oh,
It's a
for
busy
sure.
time, but a good time.
So are we. All right. Well, I hope you guys are all pumped and ready to go for Jingle Jam. We are very much looking forward to it. We hope you will spread the word to your friends and family and your neighbors. Let's use this opportunity to reach out to people that aren't normally here on Sundays. And this will be a great introduction to the church and to Jesus. You can also check out everything that's going on in the church by going to shepnaz.org. Don't forget to go to Jingle Jam. You go shepnaz.org/Jingle Jam. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For Pastor Brett and Pastor Nick, I'm Joe. Have a great day. This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.